Do I stay or do I grow? I chose growth. However, the way I chose it is a little strange. And here's how this came. The idea came in a strange way. My husband, by the way, he's sitting right over there. He's the one doing the camera. Just give him a little applause. He gets to spend the day in this room of estrogen. He's very excited about it. He came up to me one day. He goes, "Hey, you want to go skydiving?" And I go, "What?" "Yeah, you want to go skydiving?" I said, "Yeah, I do want to go." And while I was answering, I thought, you know what? He didn't know this. Nobody knew this. I decided I was going to use that option to skydive to test drive my fear. This was my crazy notion. If I can jump out of a plane at 10,000 feet, I can quit my job. So I said, yeah, sign me up. So I think we paid $250 for the jump and the video, because you got to have this kind of stuff on video. So we go and we drive to Rochester. You know, that's where it was, by the way. It was in Rochester. And nobody knows that I'm test driving my fear in my head. Nobody knows that I'm going to jump out of a plane, and if I can do it, then I'm going to quit my job. Because think of that rationale. Some of you are going, what? So we drive to Rochester, and the first thing they do is they have this, has anyone ever gone? No. Yeah, there you were. I went tandem. You know, because when you first jump, you don't go alone. You go tandem, which means someone's connected with you. So you have to take this little course first, and they kind of walk you through how this is going to happen, what you're going to do, so on and so forth. So we're in this classroom, and the instructor says, everybody on their knees. And I'm like, thank you. And then he says, I want you to cross yourself. And I continue to go, okay. And he says, no, young lady, like this. So I'm thinking, great, you're going to put me in a coffin now. So I've got my arms crossed. This is the position, he says, and I'll come over here. Sorry. But yeah, I'm like this, you know. And basically what he says is you're going to back into, while you're in this little plane, this little Cessna, I think it's called, it's a tiny little plane, back up into your tandem instructor. He will strap you in. And I'm like, okay. Then he says, and it's funny because, you know, you're trying to act nonchalant, like this doesn't bother me a bit. And when I'm down on my knees, he says, the next thing you're going to do when your arms are crossed, I want you to take your foot, slowly slide it out, and put it on the wing of the plane. That means that the window door is open. And this one young lady that was in the class, she was about 19 years old. She wasn't with our group. She's, excuse me, sir, what happens if we don't want to jump? And he says, you don't have to. I'm going to keep your money. Marissa, can you hook me up here? I brought this for you folks. Just pause it for me if you can. This is me up in the plane. As you can see, it's very, very small up there. I don't know if you can tell, but my knees are upward and my sneakers are on one side. So I'm on one side of the plane, and I'm looking cool as a cucumber. Putting my goggles on. Yep, I'm at 10,000 feet. I can do this. Yeah. Go ahead, Marissa. I put, and I am acting very cool. Now, this is a little beanie thing. I don't know how that's supposed to keep my head intact. It's rubber. Tuck my bangs up in there. My heart's up pounding and pounding away. And I'm thinking, I can do this. If my husband did this, if my 79-year-old father-in-law can do this, I can do this. I cannot back out. I can do this. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I can, you know, you can't breathe. You can't breathe. But I'm putting the ham on. I learned that in TV land, you know. No matter how you feel, you got to put that smile on. And there I am. I'm hamming it up. A little fist bump right here with the photographer. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Checking the old helmet, and this girl, I have no idea who she is, by the way. She's a solo jumper. She's seasoned. The door opens, and my heart falls out of my chest. This guy turns the camera on her. She puts her foot on the wing, looks at him, and goes, yeah, I'll see you down there, bye. And out she goes. Pause that for me, Marissa. Look at that. This is what I'm looking at when I'm up there, and I'm going... And I remembered what the instructor said. He said I could back out. And so I chose to back out. I decided that there was a little 7-year-old girl on the ground, my daughter. I didn't need her seeing me go splat. A new husband, who I loved dearly. And I thought, this is ridiculous. If I'm going to test drive my fear, it's not going to be this way. So, Marissa, turn that on for me, honey, please, and thank you. I'm watching her go, and I'm up in the corner here. You're going to see him pull the camera back up, and my foot goes on the wing of the plane. And I realized at that crucial moment I had to make a choice. And I made that choice unbelievably. I said, you know what? I got to cross my arms. Jesus, take the wheel. Take the wheel, because I got no choice right now. He's going, and I'm going with him. In 3, 2, 1, I am out that door, and I went. And it was the most exhilarating moment. And I get emotional every time I talk about it, because I can honestly say I was so happy because I overcame my fear. I still got to get to the ground. But I did make it, and the exhilaration and what I felt, I can't describe. It was just, all of a sudden I thought, I can do anything. It gave me that power. I can do anything. And I want you to feel that if you haven't yet, and fall in love with that feeling. So if it's going back to school, forget the age. And I'll tell you why. Forget the age, forget the money, forget what's going on, forget about any heartache or suffering you're feeling. Remember, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Forget about it, just focus on that. What is that big thing? What is it? What is it? And now if you have your programs handy, there's a little page in there that says Notes of Joy. You can write it anywhere. I want you to write it down. Don't not do it. Just all humor me. Thank you. Write it down. I want to go back to school. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to learn how to play the piano. I want to sing. I want to go to church more. I want to make amends with my family. This is the big thing that I want to do. This is what fear is holding me back, but this is what I want to do. Write it down. I don't care if it's a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. Tell me your story. Call me and email me and say, Jolene, I did it. But if you set the little goals, the bigger ones are easier. And that's the truth. That was proof right there. Nut job that I am, jumping out of the plane. I just want to tell you one story before I close, and this is what I mean when I keep impressing on you, forget about age, forget about money. One of my clients that I write for is a vineyard in Clayton, New York. They're called Coyote Moon Vineyards. I don't know if anybody's familiar with them. The owners of the vineyards are Phil and Mary Randazzo. But I want a story about everyone, and I want to start with my wife, Mary. They've been married 25 years. Mary is an artist. She paints historic landmarks. And he said, I want you to do the story about her first. So Mary sits down, and I proceed to record her, and she tells me her story. And she's from North Carolina, by the way, transplanted to California and then to northern New York. So she's got a twang to her still. She's 64. And she started telling me how, I said, well, how did you start painting? Thinking I'm going to get the story about when she was 7 or so. How did you start? And she said, well, I was driving through a canyon in California one day, and as I was driving, she says, I passed this beautiful, giant, majestic tree. And I thought to myself, I'm going to paint that. I'm going to take a picture of that tree, and I'm going to paint it. On the way back, though, I've got errands to run. I've got to stop and see my friend. She had a camera right in the car. So she goes and she runs her errands. She stops and she visits her friend. She's driving back through the canyon. She comes up over the hill, and the tree is on the ground, wrapped in chains, and there are men around it. And she pulled over. She said, I was laughing and I was crying at the same time. Because I realized in that very moment, once again, I was a day late and $1 short. And she started to cry. And she decided at that very moment that was not going to happen again. And she went out and she bought canvas and she bought paintbrushes. When she did that, Mary Randazzo was 40 years old. She's 64 today, and she just won her first 2 awards for her paintings. So please don't tell me you're too old. If the passion is there, it was put there for a reason. Follow it. Ladies, explore your world, love your life, and live with purpose. Thank you very much.
Oh, beautiful.